It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
All right, good morning, Arkansas. Thanks so much for being with us today. I want to go now to Jan Morgan. It's always great to have her back on the program. Of course, she's a national political analyst, jack of all trades. Jan, welcome back.
Hey, great to be with you, Paul. How are you?
I'm doing well, Jan. Thank you so much for spending time with us this morning. I actually got to see one of your Facebook Live videos from last week. You were doing coverage of the 92nd General Assembly at the Capitol, at the Marble Palace, and you were highlighting this dark money bill that's not really about dark money. It's just about, making people disclose where they're going to give money to this organization or that organization, an invasion of privacy. You did a great job bringing that to the public's attention. Jan, are you there?
Yes, I'm getting some feedback. I'm hearing two different things going on. I'm not sure why that is, but
I am so sorry. Well, we can hang up and try to reconnect the call.
Yeah, what I'm hearing, Paul, is a delay. I'm hearing part of what the on-air broadcast, and then I'm also hearing yes, much better.
Okay. Well, we didn't do anything. Is it still a problem? Huh.
Yeah, let me call you back.
Okay, yeah. Right, let's try to reconnect the call here because yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We'll be right back with Jan Morgan here. Apparently, we have a connection problem, and it's an issue. Make sure that it's okay before you put her through. Yeah, let's make sure everything's good. We don't want to get this. We don't want to get a bad connection here. That's no fun. If you're just joining us, by the way, we got a few headlines here. Panel backs the Senate proposed online sales tax levy. We haven't really covered that much. It was kind of snuck through, in my opinion. So the online sales tax is now going to be heard in the Senate, I guess probably Monday, but it passed through the Senate committee the other day, and so that was I didn't expect it to run. I thought Bart Hester was going to run this bill next week. I could have sworn that's what was said. And I know things are fluid, but the bottom line is, from what I can tell, there was really no discussion in the committee of whether or not we should pass an internet sales tax. There was more discussion on the corporate income tax reforms that they put in there, an amendment, and there's some car wash provisions, like you know what I mean? And so I'm not really even sure. I guess to me, the fact that there wasn't any discussion on the marketplace idea, because what they're going to say, we're saving Main Street businesses and that sort of thing. And we're not saving Main Street businesses. Passing an internet sales tax, it just gives more money to the government. That money doesn't go to Main Street businesses. You know what I mean? So anyway, it's pretty interesting. The telephone number again, 870-275-9799. You can call or text us. So we have Jan back. Okay, Jan, tell us a little bit about this dark money legislation that I think you had a big hand in stopping.
Well, you say I had a big hand in stopping. I don't feel that way. The way I look at it, it was the people that stopped it. I simply just went on the air live and told people about it. But here's the big thing. We know that the people in this state have learned that often our state agencies can be weaponized against us. Some of us have directly been victims of that. And when people, for example, when I was running for office, when people would say, Jan, I really want to donate to your campaign, but I can't do that because then my name will go on the list, and they will go over that list, and my business or I and my family will be retaliated against by state agencies. And that is a very real threat, and there is history to prove that it's happened to people. And that's what was going to happen with organizations through this bill. If you donated to an organization, and that organization spoke out in favor of a candidate who was running for the judicial branch of our government, then suddenly your name and that information could become public. And that's a very dangerous place to go, and it would have changed. I think it would have affected financially all those organizations that we donate to in order to help candidates without our privacy being invaded. So, that was my concern. And all the people who I asked to call, I went live, people called, and they were able to stop it because, as you know, the reason the bill was pulled, they said, was because of too much opposition.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think that particular bill is dead. Now, they may bring it back. That's always a possibility. There's no filing
I've been
deadline.
told that they're working on amending it, right. Just like they brought back the flag bill again. They brought that back again, but yesterday. So, as we know, just because they pull it today doesn't mean it's not going to come back tomorrow.
We're talking with Jan Morgan. Now, Jan, I'd like to know, just generally, I know you're down there, so am I, but what do you think, how are things going so far down there? Is it a mixed bag, or is it mostly bad, or is it mostly good? What do you think?
I would give it a 25% good, 75% bad. And when I'm rating what Republicans have been able to accomplish, because we do have control of the House and the Senate. We have the opportunity to do some incredible things for the people of this state. And rather than accomplish those things, we've done well on pro-life. We've done well on some of the social issues. But when it comes to cutting spending, cutting taxes, and shrinking the size of state government, the size and scope of our government, we have not done very well. And I feel like, Paul, I'm on the Titanic with a bucket, and I'm trying to shovel out water. That's the way I feel about it, and it's almost overwhelming. And especially, you know how it's going to get the next couple of weeks as the session comes to an end. There are going to be so many bills coming so quickly that there's no way. It's almost impossible to stay on top of it all now. And that happens on purpose because they know you can't be everywhere.
One of the things I haven't mentioned on this program at all is this idea of tuition, and is it Dreamers or is it illegals? Are you familiar with it?
Yes, I am. What it is, it's if you are in this state illegally, if you're an illegal alien, you will be able to apply for and be exempt from. Actually, you'll be exempt from out-of-state tuition costs if you want to go to a university in the state of Arkansas. Now, if you're a United States citizen and you live in Texas or another state and you want to come to Arkansas, you have to pay that out-of-state tuition. So you're number one, we are promoting illegal activity. We are promoting the concept of disobeying the laws, immigration laws, by doing this. Number one. And number two, we're not giving the same benefit of out-of-district tuition exemption to U.S. citizens. So that's what the Democrats are doing on the national level. It seems like they're more in favor of everything that's pro-illegal, illegals, rather than pro-U.S. citizens.
So
that's not a place we need to go in Arkansas.
Right. So have we done that?
Time this has been brought up.
Have we advanced this already in Arkansas, and Republicans supported it?
Well, what we've advanced in Arkansas under Asa's administration is, when I ran for office, we talked about the fact that we had two different bills where our senators, Republican senators and representatives, were trying to stop this whole concept of promoting illegal activity. One of them would have prohibited college campuses from becoming sanctuaries for illegals. The other bill would have stopped and prohibited sanctuary cities in the state. Asa Hutchinson, under his administration, was able to stop those bills. Now, here comes this bill, and there's been major backlash from the people of this state to discriminate against law-abiding citizens for the sake of illegal aliens. And yet, here we are again with this bill. And this came up years before. It's a bill that never goes away. I'm hoping it doesn't pass, but it's advancing very quickly.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's something. So there's got to be some common sense. I mean, if you look at things, somebody was telling me this the other day, I know the people voted the minimum wage law in, but Robin Lundstrom, she's trying to tweak it. She's trying to help small business. She gets thrown under the bus. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's a Democrat victory. Then if you get this illegal tuition, bill through, that'll be a huge victory. Then the earned income tax credit yesterday, advancing from the Senate. The Democrat Party of Arkansas could have the most successful session in 20 years when this is all said and done.
You're exactly right. And I laughed, but that's very sad, because here's what's going to happen, Paul. And I said this for the past year and a half. What happens this next 4 years is going to be the legacy of the Republican Party under Ace's administration. And I told the people, I warned the people, if it was as bad as it was the first 4 years, what do you expect is going to happen this next 4 years when he doesn't have to run for re-election, okay? The problem is the Republican Party will have to run for re-election. The Republican Party is going to be on display. What happened under our leadership? Taxes have increased, government has grown, spending has grown. We are pushing the possibility of increasing spending by over $1 billion by the end of this next 4 years if we don't stop and make some changes and start heading to a different direction. And we're going to pay for that.
They're expecting us to believe that there's just nowhere to cut, Jan. I mean, there's really no...
We know better.
I know.
We know better.
It's so
We
frustrating.
know better. I was talking to Representative Dan Sullivan the other day, and he said he just sat down and just off the top of his head was able to come up with $170 million in cuts without, and that's just without even looking at the paperwork, just off the top of his head. $170 million in waste. We have so much waste. But revenue neutral and the shell games have got to stop. You know, giving people tax cuts at the expense of twice the tax increases is not going to get us anywhere.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. When it's all said and done, I mean, I've got a list going, and I'm trying to anticipate their math because they're going to count the Mike Beebe grocery tax cut. That's legislative plagiarism in their numbers. That's going to, that's the last thing that hits, from his legacy this year. And then they're not going to count the $200 million tax increase they're asking that they've passed to ask the voters to affirm. They won't count that because it hasn't happened yet. I mean, it's going to be very creative, but I bet they'll be able to get their numbers to at least work. I don't think that'll be truthful, but I think, they'll present something that balances and it looks. Of course, actually, Jan, the other day, Governor was on Talk Business and Politics and said that his administration was delivering net tax cuts to the people. And so I don't know how they're going to get the numbers to show that at this point, just so far. So,
Paul, there's going to come a time, and I think it's coming very soon, when the tax burden on the people of this state is going to be so heavy that it doesn't matter what any Republican says. The people are going to say, bull.
Yeah.
I feel it. I can't pay my bills. I can't afford to put gasoline in my car.
Ooh.
People think, oh, what's a half-cent tax increase? I don't mind a half-cent. What they don't understand yet is that's going to transfer. It's going to cost delivery vehicles more to transport your groceries to the grocery store. You think the grocery store is going to absorb that cost? No, you are. This is going to explode in tax burden on the people. And I think that we're almost there to the point where people are going to say, I can't pay my bills. And
yeah.
You're not going to be able to tiptoe around it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're getting to a tipping point. We're talking with Jan Morgan. Now, Jan, the governor earlier said that he was open to red flag legislation. I understand Senator Greg Leding, now Democrat, just filed some red flag laws. What do you think?
I think that it better not pass. It better die in committee is what better happen with it, because as you know, red flag laws are very dangerous. They are a trampling of the constitutional rights of the people, not just the Second Amendment, but the First Amendment, the Fourth, and the Fifth Amendment. That must stop immediately. I don't expect that it's going to go anywhere. Better not.
Up in Maryland, they have some sort of red flag law. I think it was Maryland. Maybe it was, I can't remember, somewhere up in the Northeast. And, the cops, somebody made this anonymous tip, or, they went to the authorities, said, hey, I think this guy's dangerous. And the cops show up at his house to take his guns, and they end up killing the guy because he was like, you're not taking my guns. I mean, this is insane.
Yes, and it turned out, Paul, that in that case, just like, which is a big fear here, is that he wasn't actually mental at all. Someone in his family was angry with him, and it was a false report. Now, they have put in this extreme risk protection orders, what they're calling ours in this state. They put something in there that they say will help guard against that. But the bottom line is it denies your due process. You're guilty until proven innocent. You're out on attorney's fees. You're minus your guns for days until you can get to a court and somehow You've got to prove that you're not crazy, and you've got to prove that you're innocent of a crime that you didn't even committed. You're not even being accused of a crime, other than somebody says you're mental or you're dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Very dangerous place to go.
Wow. How are things at the gun cave? How are things going there?
Oh, amazing! We've we limped along for the year that I was running for governor. It really hurts when I'm not here because I teach classes here. I teach pistol classes every week. A lot of people feared concealed handgun license instructors around this state. I felt the backlash because I fought for the constitutional carry resolution because it's the right thing to do, and I made enemies with a lot of concealed carry instructors who were scared to death that if people don't have to have a license to carry in this state, and they know that it's going to hurt their business. Actually, the opposite is true. It may hurt their business, but when people are free and they're not having to or required to get a license to carry, more people are carrying out there, and that makes me happy because an armed society is a polite society. And it's sad that all along in this state we've had constitutional carry, and the people have been lied to by career politicians. Yeah. So I'm glad that more people are getting armed and trained.
Yeah, and all those concealed carry instructors have to do is start billing themselves as, hey, if you want to carry a weapon out of state to protect your family when you're traveling on vacation this summer, you need to come, you need to get this concealed carry so you'll have reciprocity with these other states. I mean, that's the way to market it at this point.
Or the real way to market it is instead of preying on people for a license and a permission slip, which is a violation of the Second Amendment, just tell the people the truth, which is what I tell people, and that is you need to be a responsibly armed citizen. You need to know threat assessment. You need to get well-trained with your firearms. So when a crisis hits, you don't have to second-guess. And as you know, Paul, I was on statewide news with last month because I actually had to pull a gun to save my daughter's life. And I did not have to shoot the guy, although legally I could have. And the TV stations made a big deal about it in this state, saying, wow, you actually had a chance to shoot someone and you didn't do it. Like as if they were shocked, as if every gun owner in this state is trigger happy, can't wait to use that gun. So the big story was not that, guns save lives. It was that Jan Morgan could have shot somebody legally and she didn't. Mm-hmm. but that was okay because I took the opportunity to get the message out to people that threat assessment, so you don't just, take a class one day and you're ready to save your life and other people's lives with your gun. It is a training process.
I still have to go down there and get schooled about all the things I'm doing wrong when I shoot. I've just got to take your class at some point, Jan.
I'm saving you a spot.
Okay.
I don't know what the holdup is. You and your wife.
Okay. We've got to make the trip down to Hot Springs and make that happen soon. Jan Morgan, it's always great to have you on. I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too, Paul.
All righty. Folks, we're going to put a copy of this video up at conduitnews.com. It's always great to have Jan on.